Hey. Yeah. Huh?
Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call?
Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome to this quick video having a look at the recently announced Ghostbusters DLC for Planet Coaster. So after a weekend of Ghoul, what's his name? King Ghoul? The Planet Coaster, the King Coaster styled ghost dude that came with the spooky pack. He took over the social media feeds all weekend and posted scary things up and stuff. So a few people kind of thought that was hinting at something coming, and today it looks like it was the Ghostbusters having to come in and clear him out. This looks really interesting, actually. I'm quite excited by it, but there's some really interesting little bits of information here that we can take a look at. So one of the key differences is that this pack is bringing an exclusive story-driven scenario. It says iconic Ghostbusters content inspired by the 1984 film, and the Ghostbusters are going to come in and deal with ghosts that are causing a nuisance in your park. You can see in the trailer that there's stuff being thrown out the garbage cans and stuff, so that might be something that they have to come in and deal with. Gameplay mechanics that will be introduced to Planet Coaster for the first time. Sounds really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out, because I haven't really gone into the scenarios for a long time, and something new and meaty there might be the thing that drags me back into them. But then everything else sounds a bit more up our street when it comes to sort of creating more sort of set piece parks. Exciting news that Dan Aykroyd is going to be doing his role of Raymond Stantz in the game. He's going to be bringing his voice, and also William Atherton, who played Walter Peck. I'm not really up on my Ghostbusters. I know William Atherton as being the annoying news reporter in Die Hard, but yeah, apparently he's in Ghostbusters as well as a bit of a bad. Not quite. He's like a second tier bad guy. That's what Walter Peck does. He always William Atherton. He always plays a really good second tier bad guy. Anyway, they're coming in to do their voices for the campaign, and then we get into the sort of meat and veg of this, as far as I'm concerned. The main thing is two new rides: the Roller Ghoster, which is a twisting and turning children's coaster featuring Slimer. So this is basically, I think, it's going to be a skin of the kids coaster that we normally have for the bug, I think it is, or the dragon, but now there's got this awesome Slimer up the front of it, which is looking pretty good, will work well in your spooky areas. And then also the Ghostbusters Experience, a thrilling interactive dark ride where guests can bust ghosts and score points. This sounds really interesting. So this sounds like how a lot of ghost trains have gone these days. They've retrofitted in this Laser Quest style where you can shoot with lasers around and hit points and hit targets and earn points as you go. These happen quite a lot. Often used to give a bit of a second lease of life to older ghost train coasters, so very excited to see that. And a few people have been like, oh, I hope it's not really Ghostbuster themed, and I think it's going to be. I think most likely you're driving around in some Ecto-1 style cars, but do not fear, because if you do want something a little bit plainer, this DLC is coming alongside a free update that includes the Quick Draw, a ride which allows your guests to ride and shoot targets aiming for a spot on the leaderboard. So what I'm think that is basically the same ride, but one of them's themed to Ghostbusters. So I think you're going to get something a little bit plainer in there, or maybe a little bit more like Western themed, that you could probably use in a few different places. So that looks exciting. Also, it says no more specifics really, other than that we're going to get scenery and stuff based around the theme as well. I'm excited for this one. It is a little bit more expensive than the other DLCs. It's coming in at $12.99 British, and then $14.99 in euro and dollar. So it is a few more pounds more than the other DLCs, but that probably is just purely down to the license there. Obviously, they're having to pay. The Ghostbusters license belongs to Columbia, which I think is part of Sony. So this is a new license deal that isn't part of the Universal deal that we've seen previously with Jurassic World and the car mini DLCs that we saw quite early in Planet Coaster's lifetime. So exciting stuff. Interesting to see what the new scenario stuff is. Interesting to see all the scenery. Obviously, we'll do a deep dive into the scenery pack when we get hold of it. But I think on a grander scale, this is interesting that, licenses from a few different IPs now. We've seen some Universal stuff. We've seen some Sony stuff. We've seen a few different theme parks as well. I personally think this is a really great way to go. Personally, I have no problem with DLC. I know a few people moan about DLC being expensive, but even this, $12.99, $14.99, like, it's the price of a pizza. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get more than my fair share of play out of this. I understand some people might not be in the same financial situation as me, but you got to remember that the base game is still there and is still very playable. DLC is just little extra bits that if you can afford them and you want to buy them, you can, but I don't really think you can't see them as stuff that should have been in the base game. You bought the base game as it was and you were happy with it. I assume I certainly was. I have no problem with DLC, and I personally would love the idea of seeing a Harry Potter DLC with loads of Harry Potter stuff. I'd love to see a Disney DLC with Mickey Mouse running around or whatever. I think that's a great way to go. Not necessarily with Planet Coaster. I feel like the game is starting to get a little bit late into its development cycle now, but I think this is a really good litmus test to see how this kind of thing goes down for what can hopefully be Planet Coaster 2 in the future. Who knows? Anyway, thank you for watching this. Sorry, it's a little bit thrown together. Unfortunately, with time differences, sometimes they work for me, sometimes they work against me. This one worked against me. This announcement came out at about 4 in the morning here. So I've got up this morning, I've gave Xander some breakfast, and he's currently being occupied by babysitter iPad over there while I try and get this one recorded. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, you give us a like, it really helps. If you're not already, don't forget to subscribe. We will obviously do a deep dive into all of this stuff as soon as we get our hands on it, so don't miss that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.